we're going to kick things off with something a little bit different. We do a segment on the show called Project Game Pass, where we pick a game from Game Pass, we play, we talk about it, and we give it a sort of unofficial verdict. However, this time we're going to go a bit more serious, a bit more in depth, and we're going to make this our proper Xbox Tavern review of Exoprimal, because we've all been playing it over the last week, played a couple of nights together. I've been playing a little bit on my own. I think Ian has been playing a little bit on his own as well. I'm not sure about the other guys. And we thought we're going to have a long discussion about it. We'll give it a proper hardcore rating to go up on the website, and you can go and read the verdict and watch the video clips and stuff over there as well. So, gentlemen, this is going to be a review, I suppose, of Exoprimal, a new game from Capcom on the Xbox consoles and Xbox Game Pass, obviously. General gist of it is 5 players in a team, killing lots and lots of dinosaurs in waves, racing against another team who are also doing the same. And then by the time you get to the end, you either end up fighting against each other, or occasionally you end up working together to fight a big boss. But I don't think we've tried any of them end rounds yet. There's loads of different rounds that sort of randomly assigned here. A dozen or so different classes to pick that you can change to and from in games, and no need to sort of preload any classes where you can just mix and match as the situation suits. And I think it's fair to say that we've all had a pretty good time with it so far. Anyone want to kick us off?
Well, you're the captain. You're the man with all the MVPs, so it's only fitting that you should take over.
MVP.
I mean, obviously, it probably helps that I'm about 10 or so levels higher than the rest of you. But, I've got to take the wins where I can get them. So, yeah, like I said, I've been playing since last Friday, pretty much 1 or 2 games at least every day, often more. And then we played, was it Tuesday? It was about 2.5 hours roughly?
2.5 on Tuesday, and then what was it, 2.5 on?
Yeah, another good few hours on Friday night as well. And we'll kick off with obviously the main attraction is the actual gameplay itself, and I think it surprised me with how well it controlled. Like, I was expecting maybe a bit more sort of weak gameplay, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't, from watching some of the trailers, it didn't look like there was going to be much to it other than just hold down the trigger and just run around and spray everything. But there's a bit more depth there, and also I can set things on fire, which is always a good start.
Fire!
My favorite character.
It's non-stop. It's hectic, but it's never so much so that you can't still keep your bearings. Excuse me. So Ian, you've been playing it probably, I think, most out of all of us, apart from me. What's your thoughts and feelings so far on Exoprimal?
I think it's a good, solid game. I think it's probably the most fun I've had co-op-wise shooting since like Overwatch days kind of thing. Maybe with that, and like maybe Rainbow Six Siege when we used to play back in the day. Just feel like the sense of actually working together kind of, it helps a lot. And I think it's just more like the gameplay's fun, like, especially because obviously I'm mainly healing. But with some of the healers, you can actually do some damage or actually help out rather than just be healing. Like, for example, if I'm the Witch Doctor, I can stun loads of enemies. That kind of slows them down a bit to make them easier pickings for you guys.
And what was the character you were playing as the healer? I can't remember.
Witch Doctor.
It was Witch Doctor, sorry. Yeah. And did you find that they had a decent broad range of healing abilities? Because there was one character who healing bit, I can't remember the name, Skyway or something, fucking useless.
Yeah, Skyway has a healing base where your trigger is healing, and then you really can't do much. What else you can kind of, I don't know what else you could do really with him or her.
I think Nimbus was a fun one. It's like a nice fun bit in the middle, because she's got she can switch it. It's got a cooldown, but she can switch from between our guns being offensive weapons or
defensive.
Activate it. This then turn into sort of healing type idea, so you shoot your own teammates to heal them. So I quite like Nimbus. I'm not the best at healing. I'll hold my hands.
I seem to have got that nailed down quite well from my obviously Mercy Overwatch days.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand where you need to heal, when you need to switch.
Yeah, Nimbus
does help when people stay near you when you need to heal them.
Yeah, Jay.
Well, I was in the same. I didn't know what a green circle was for a few hours.
Running away from it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was only the 4 of us, so we did end up playing with a random who, that was a bit hit and miss whether they would stick with us or whether they would just fuck off and try and do sort of solo runs and make it 10 times harder than it need to be. What about yourself?
It's difficult when they're samurai, because when they're samurai, they have to go really close up and when you're healing the people behind you or trying to keep the tank alive, because that's the one you kind of want to focus on keeping alive, because they're the one that takes all the aggro usually.
Whoa, is that dig at me now?
No, because you usually do keep the aggro. Technically, it was a dig, but no. But you're right, taking the aggro. You're not as bad as others.
I tried and gained as much aggro as I could.
Yeah. And then you finally realised how the shield worked.
Even though you realise how buttons work, yeah.
No, only my power. But then I realised that my final movement bit didn't even make sense, because it said right trigger to fire it, but I barely let my finger go off the right trigger most of the time. So I don't understand that the finishing move is any bit I haven't really fully worked out yet for Krieger. But I mean, I haven't really explored anyone else other than Krieger, that's kind of the tank. And I think this bit is where the game really sort of flourishes. It forces you to sort of at least have one of each of the three kind of areas of a healer, sort of like a damage dealer and a tank. You need to have at least one of each of those bits to really sort of have any chance of sort of winning.
Yeah, and it does tell you as well, doesn't it? It's like your team lacks a tank or your team lacks a healer.
Yeah, because you really you notice it quite clearly.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed before when I've been about you guys, when I've done a few matches on my own, and it's like everyone's just all assault and it's me healing. I'm not changing. I'm just constantly healing, because all of them are taking like damage. And it's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
If there's a tank here, it'll be all right, because the tank will take all the damage, and then they'll just be killing stuff.
Yeah.
On that first day, like the Friday when it come out, I played a couple of games and there was no healers at all. But because everyone was still fairly new to it, it didn't really make much difference. And then I played, Saturday, Sunday, and even just one healer made all the difference in the world, because if you didn't have one, we would just get absolutely fucking spanked left, right, and center.
I think the healing's quite strong though in the game as well, because I noticed when Ian sort of put his sort of healing down with that guy, my guy's health sort of came up really quickly. So it goes to show you sort of the difference it can make.
Yeah.
So
and the overcharge as well, like buffing it, so you've not just got your basic heal, you've got like a massive shield as well going on.
Yeah, that's basically what I focus on. I was healing. I was making sure everyone was overcharged. If someone got down off overcharge, I'll focus them to get them overcharged and health again. Yeah. That's how I kind of focus, and that helps you, because obviously you see a green bar, they're fine. If you see it starts in a white bar, find them.
Yeah, time to jump into action.
A combination of that and every kind of move is valuable in your arsenal. Sort of, you don't have many of them. It's like kind of like 3 or 4. You got your main sort of right trigger weapon. You've got your Y attack, and then you've got your bumper ones as well. But every single one of those serves like multiple purposes, and it's just usually like you kind of spam your most attack ones, and something gets left behind. But each one of them is quite valuable and has a bit of a cooldown, so you kind of have to use the other ones to sort of make up, to sort of buy you time until the other ones become available again. Yeah. Like even like I have a dash move, which is like I've been using to get out of trouble, but I've noticed that you can use it to stagger the enemies, or even sort of like the bigger ones, you can kind of stun them a little bit. That buys you a little bit of time as well.
Yeah,
so every move has multiple purposes.
I think as well, if you kind of get what they call modules, that's it. You can kind of change some moves as well. Because, like example, I've got a massive jump button thing. If I use that, it gives me back one area effect healing. So if I do one out of them, I can literally just do that dash jump and then do the cone straight away, because that helps. Again, it gives you a bit more to your arsenal when you start leveling up.
Yeah, I was surprised, like you saying, how much I was relying on like the full suite of the bumpers, because I had, as Barrage, he's got like a set of mines he can fire down, which are really powerful, and they set everything on fire, but they only charge every like 20 seconds. And in between that, then I had like a little cannon fire, a dodge, which, like you said, exploded, so it also set them on fire, which you can upgrade to make it even bigger explosion. And then just a stun grenade as well, and just bouncing back and forth between them. It was almost not even hard to keep on top of, but it was just like almost rhythmic, like, right, stun button, okay, now cannon, okay, now mines, okay, now dodge, okay, now back to the stun, and just going round and round, like just getting into the flow of the action, as it were. Ross, what character were you using mainly?
I was Deadeye. I think that's the character I've probably put the main amount of time in, which is as much as your generic type all-round assault, isn't particularly specialist in anything. He just does what he does at a very even rate.
Yeah, so there was, like I said, I think there's 4 in the assault class, isn't there? There's 3 tanks, 3 healers. and the final ones on each tier you need to unlock. We were very graciously provided codes for the special edition, so we got early unlocks all the characters. And one of the ones in the tank one, Murasami, I think his name is, the ninja.
Yeah.
He was incredibly powerful, but like Ian said, if I was using him, it was hard to get me healed because I had to be right up close getting in the action. But yeah, the rest of them are the ones that I've used. I haven't used them all, but the rest of the ones I have used have all felt different enough to make it worthwhile sort of
having a wee
experimenting a bit rather than just being like, I just want to stick with one because the rest are rubbish type thing. They all had their perks and bonuses, and the only thing I wasn't a big fan of in that was each character obviously levels up as you use them. So if you then, like Barrage, for example, I think I'm level 18 with him now out of 20, I think it goes up to. But then if I go to a new character, I've got to start at level 0 again. And granted, it only sets you back, a small amount of damage and a small amount of perks and stuff. But it's still, do I really want to leave this character I've buffed up and go for a weaker one at this point, or should I just stick with ones I know? So it'd be good to sort of mix it. If you're going to play it from now on, try and mix it up evenly, at least to start with, until you've got a favourite you want to build up. But in terms of the gameplay, obviously, the characters are well and good if the modes are no good. And there's only one mode really. What's it called? Sorry, does anyone remember the name of it?
Survival, I think it is.
War Games!
War Games! Sorry.
So we just blew everyone's ears up there. So War Games, and the gist of it, like I said, you start 2 teams of 5. You don't interact directly, but in between waves, you can see where the other team is. So they'll show up in like a red outline. And the idea is to sort of race to the end. And that may include...
That's got a 1 loss on the screen, boss.
Well, it's just the whole clip, so...
Yeah, so if you're watching now, we're watching the gameplay we recorded Friday night, sorry. I mean, we did well, I think, but
just the 1 loss, which is the one we just signed.
Yeah, we got a couple of
cut that first one out.
We mainly won. But yeah, so the waves themselves, it varies again. It's random a selection, but you might just be killing 100 raptors, or you might have to chase down a triceratops or a T-Rex, or you might get one of the later game ones where 1,000 dinosaurs spawn from the sky and just
that's fantastic. That mod.
And I mean, it looks spectacular, but it's also a lot of fun to play, and it's also again not overwhelming because everybody's got their certain powers. You can take out 10, 15 dinosaurs at a go, and it only takes a minute or 2 to get through the 4,000. And then obviously once you've done
healer could do some damage as well, which helps.
Yeah, and the healers, like I said, I think their stunning ability is probably the more useful aspect because it slows them down. Or I think one of them, again, I forget which character, sort of freezes them in place, so you've got a few seconds just to smack the shit out of the T-Rex when he's sort of stuck in midair with his little arms going. So you get through that. You do however many rounds it is, 5 or 6 rounds, I forget exactly, and then. In between each round, the AI Leviathans, that's Zordon / fucking David Bowie says, either you're going faster or slower than the enemy team. And even, I mean, no matter what he says, chances are there's like 2 or 3 seconds in it at most. It's really, generally, really tight games. And you get to the end, and then it's one of a random selection of final rounds, such as transporting the cube or capturing like ABC points. There was a couple others. There was one to do with another capture point or some. I forget the exact rules of it. Does anyone remember?
Or what? Sorry.
Oh, there was another example.
King of the Hill ones.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was it. Sort of King of the Hill style thing.
And there was dominate. There's one like domination style. There's one where you had to kind of beat the person to do objectives.
And there's a couple that I was looking on the website that we haven't done yet, including one where the 2 teams like team up against. They call it a Neo T-Rex.
Yeah, it's
just a massive fuck off, dude. I haven't seen that yet.
That would be fun. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know how they work out who wins because if you're both teaming up, I guess who does.
I presume it'll be the ones that do the most damage.
Yeah,
or you both win because it's like a
level. Yeah, it could be because it's probably gonna be fucking rock hard. So it's gonna need some.
Everyone's a winner.
The 2 teams, and you get a win, and you get a win. But yeah, I mean, probably my only criticism in terms of the gameplay itself at the minute is that
main menu,
although it's fun and short and relatively quick to get through, it does get quite repetitive until it starts to introduce some of the bigger stuff, which requires you to have played a good few hours before you even start to see the T-Rexes or any of the other really big dinosaurs that pop up. And I think there's 3 maps at the minute. And they've said there's more coming, but they all feel a bit too similar for my liking. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, the maps are. I think it's very much a similar sort of area. I know there's like the ones that are a wee bit more open, but it's very much like I think there's the one that's like a harbour type idea where you've got all the shipping containers.
I get Titanfall vibes.
Yeah, you've got one that you're going like through the middle of the streets that cut through. I think is meant to be like a library or a museum type idea. So there's not like 7, 8, 9 different maps that you'll explore through, but I think even in the same maps, they sort of go down different routes of the same map, so you're maybe not always seeing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and sometimes, like you said, you'll start on the left-hand side of one match and the right-hand side the other, and you'll work different ways around it.
And you think you're going to know the route because you've been on this map just around before, but instead of it takes you like down the hill instead of like through the museum type idea. You're like, shit, you've already committed.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to mad dash, trying to beat the little whatever it's called, the messenger dude,
Watcher,
leading you around. Watcher, thank you.
Yeah, follow the Watcher.
And you're like, which way? Which way is he going to go? This way? Oh fuck! It's got another one. Run! Turn around. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just because it's so simple. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a couple of hours that we played. It's probably more than enough to play in one sitting before you move on to something else. It's got a bit more variety. And also, again, you get new dinosaurs later on, which we haven't seen every single one yet. But if I have to see any more fucking pteranodons, I am going to lose my shit. Because those
depends when you get the random name ones as well.
You love a pteranodon. Who are you kidding?
It's the only one I can't hit easily with barrage because it's like grenade launcher just sails past.
You love a pteranodon.
But yeah, that and the velociraptors and the carnotauruses and the does anyone remember the fucking bulbous headed one's name? I've forgotten already.
Oh,
something like
that. And then we've got your on screen. You got your Ankylosaurus, and then what was the other 2 that we've had? The Carnosaurus, and then who did we get last night?
The T-Rex with the Triceratops.
Neogenosaurus.
Neosaurus was a sniper last night. I was like, what the fuck is this?
So there's decent variety later on, but yeah, especially to start with, it feels a bit rinse and repeat, like the same fucking thing over and over and over again. But I think overall, it's a lot of fun to play. I've very much enjoyed just playing on my own, but especially, like I think you guys are probably going to go with, it was a lot of fun with the 4 of us. Admittedly, if we'd had a full 5, it probably would have been that tiny bit more unreliable random teammates. But yeah, I think it's a lot of fun so far. What about everybody else? Are you enjoying it? Are you going to carry on playing it? That's probably the main question.
Well, yes, I definitely think I will be. It's probably one of my top 3.
Yeah, no,
games.
Yeah, I'll definitely be playing more. And I think with the Deluxe Edition, does that not give you access to one of the future story DLCs or one of like additional content that's getting added in as well? So
yeah, it comes with something. I know it gives us whatever's in season 1 up until I think the end of October, something like that. As well as a few head starts and buffs and perks and stuff. I suppose one thing we sort of touched on and we didn't really get into it was the mods, what they called, Ian? You said them earlier on. Are they called mods?
Oh, modules.
Modules, sorry, yeah. So do you want to explain what they are and where we go with them while I look at my notes?
Yeah, sure. So, sorry. I was watching the clip. I was like, ooh.
Ish!
Ish! But yes, the modules basically, they're a good way to, you've got 3 different modules and they can kind of increase your character strength. I know for the ones like, for example, my one, I can do a bit more damage with my electric shock and also stun them quicker. I've also got ability that if I do my dash jump, I gain back a area effect heal. I think the other one is I take less damage. I take less damage and I move quicker when I go under 40% health. So again, it's all those kind of little modules and perks that kind of help you long run. Obviously, you can level them up as well, 1 to 5, which you can use from the currency you get from winning matches.
And there's a good dozen or so to pick up as well, maybe you can.
It's a big list, and then you can. There's some that max at level 5.
Yeah, max level 5. There's some that are class only.
Yeah,
there's some that are worldwide.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
there was in Barrage one. In slot number 1, I could equip whatever it was called, something to increase my grenade thing, but I couldn't equip it in slot 1, slot 2 or 3.
You have to unlock it in slot 1 first before you can.
No, that's what I mean.
It
wasn't showing up on the other ones.
I think there's some that only work in certain slots.
Yes, so so my one there for like my special with the sort of frag grenade that launches out. Like, so mine's it starts as like a traditional grenade launcher arc, so you have to like aim it above where you want it to go so that it drops down into the area. That is only in slot 1, and then my slot 2 is like my generic one. So how long it takes me to start like regaining health, and then how long it takes me to like my cooldown for the rest of my abilities. So they're in my other 2 slots, but then my first one's like almost my special attack, and that unlocks all the benefits for my specials.
Okay, yeah. So there's a lot to sort of dig into and customize each character. Again, the only thing you need to do before you start a match is fiddle around with these modules, because once you're in the game, you can bounce back and forth between suits as often as you want. Change it up, see how the moment takes you fancy. But yeah, again, that sort of put me off changing to some of the other suits at times, because I knew I hadn't bothered with the modules for them. So I was like, well, I'm going to be underpowered and fucking even less handy than I already am anyway. So yeah, but it's worth checking them out. Anyone else got anything on the actual gameplay itself? Any thoughts and opinions on that before we sort of
I actually really like how it looks. Like the exosuits are awesome. The dinosaur like models are awesome. Even like the actual maps are good looking maps.
Yeah, it does. I think someone said it sort of got a bit of Titanfall style aesthetic to it.
That's what I said. Yeah, the Titanfall film maps.
And yeah, the maps, the way they're laid out and stuff. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not the best looking game I've ever seen, but it's certainly not a bad looking game.
I think if you play them, just playing the X.
I think it's good. It's just it's
I think it's not 30 60 FPS.
Oh no!
I mean, it definitely is.
Oh no!
It's not 1080.
I think
I don't know what it is. What is it?
Yeah, I think the way the dinosaurs just sort of evaporate, it would have been pretty cool if you had like a mound of fucking dead dinosaurs before you moved on to the area next time.
Oh god,
that
would piss me off. That would piss me off more than anything else. Dead dinosaurs push them.
Trying to wade through a mountain of dead dinosaurs to get to the next area.
You can't get through this corridor.
Yeah, you're on your own in that one, Jamie.
Yeah. Especially with a mission that's 1,000 raptors you need to kill to move on to the next mission. For fuck's sake!
Like the rats out of like Playtale, where it's just a massive.
Like this bit here with 1,000 raptors coming out of a tunnel.
Just to pile that up, you can't get through the tunnel.
Oh, you're necrophiliac. Calm down.
Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah, G.
Oh dear, I don't know where to go from there. Graham, you sound like you were going to say something before Ian started accusing me of war
as
crimes.
we were touched on before, my only issue kind of is that everything is always really close up until the final bit. That the steps leading up to it almost feel like padding. There's no kind of special bonus to sort of get in there a little bit first, and then once it's in that final stretch, that's kind of where the real kind of thing happens. So I just feel like they need like a little perk, like for finishing that bit first, rather than saying like you get a head start, because that head start is almost negligible. It's only ever sort of a maximum of about 30 seconds, and that's quite easily made up in the final stretch.
Especially when they get the big dinosaur first.
I don't think we got anywhere near fucking 15, 20 seconds.
But all they can do to circumvent that is just to say, you finished your section first, so you get an extra bonus to your XP or something, and just have that bit instead. It's all battle pass worthy anyway, so why not have that boost instead of a head start, which is almost negligible. It almost feels like the first couple of rounds are just padding. You're not actually achieving anything. You're just practicing. It's almost like you're playing a tutorial every time.
It's almost like you're just trying to keep up with each other, though, isn't it? But then it's not difficult to remain within 2 or 3 seconds of each other, unless
that's what I mean. It just feels like padding.
Random teammate. But I guess we didn't really touch on the actual end. But I know we mentioned what they were. But I do enjoy how, like you said, great. Once everybody's in, that's where the real action begins, because you're fighting the dinosaurs and you're fighting the other players. And the moving the data key was my favorite one, just because once everybody got so close together, because the data keys end up in the same place, it was just fucking specials and dinosaurs and explosions and guns and swords everywhere, and it was just hectic, like carnage fun, and it was easy to sort of flip the balance of the match in that last little section, even if you've been losing all the way up till then.
No, I need to say the last one that we did last night with the Omega Hammer, that last section of the game was fucking, was excellent.
That was immense.
Yeah,
how we won that as well.
Yeah,
that was a mystery.
Defended that fucking hammer like a boss. They had that 100% for a good 40-45% of that game, and they still never managed to finalise it.
So do you want to lay out the rules of that last round before we carry on?
Yeah, so basically,
how awesome we were.
So basically, on that last one, you pick up what they call the Omega Hammer, and you need to charge it to 100% by using it to sort of kill dinosaurs, but you can't just swing it willy-nilly. Like, you use it and then you need to power it back up again until you've got it up to 100%, and then you can use it again. But there's is it 3 checkpoints throughout the map?
There's 2, and then the final one.
2 in the final. So to get through the checkpoints, you need to use the hammer. So even if you get to the checkpoint and it's not fully charged, you still need to try and delay the game to try and get the hammer charged up. Use that, get through the checkpoints, and then one final mission where pretty much the game ends up on top of each other. And it's basically both teams trying to get to their 100% of the hammer and then activate the final sort of beacon type idea. And we, like I say, the last 45% of that game, they had their hammer at 100%. We didn't get our hammer anyway. I think we got up to 97% with our hammer.
Yeah.
But we made them drop their hammer so many times for the fact that we just kept on managing to attack wave after wave that we got awarded the victory. I need to read into the rules for that game, like how we
it was given the victory how we won. But I think we ran out of time, but we must have done way more damage because again we were just smashing the shit out of them, stopping them from activating the hammer.
I think it must have done. It was on score because I know it must have been on score because we had more score than them. That's the only thing I could figure out. Was when I looked at the leaderboards, we had more points compared to that team.
And, that's stuff like that, especially that particular round as well. Because I've not done one of them, but we've actually got to the end yet. And it was just carnage. People using their specials, like the 2 teams just clashing over this one central point, as well as fighting fucking T-Rexes and Carnotauruses and fucking Pteranodons and all sorts of crazy dinosaur shit. Like you said, I understand what you're saying. Like the early rounds are almost not pointless, but like
it's just padding.
There could be either a better reward for coming
just
first,
finishing first,
or even a bigger delay. Like you still finished it, but you still got to wait another minute to get in, or another 30 seconds to get in, rather than just coming in 2 seconds later.
I would want that because that kind of kills the end game buzz a little bit. I still want that end bit to be sort of close to sort of really sort of put it up to it. I just want some sort of XP bonus, a reason to do it. Otherwise, it's almost pointless it being there.
You need more. Give you some more bitcoins. The in-game currency.
The only way it's going to help is if your team is that bad, it takes you a really long time. But I don't think we've ever been any further than sort of. I don't think we've even been a minute behind anyone. We're usually ahead of most of them, but
most of them ahead.
Behind us
very
was
rarely
like
were we.
a minute.
Yeah, I think the longest time we were apart was no more than 15 seconds at most, and that was I think we were ahead of them before the data key. But the only one I can think we messed up on was the one where it was 1,000 raptors falling from the big building because we failed that. And they were ahead. And then once Graham figured out how his shield works, that would have made that a lot easier. But we got there. We got there. But like I said, I think overall,
utilize it, not how it worked, just how to utilize it, and the fact it stunned the bigger ones. I didn't realize that bit.
Yeah, so there's lots of tips and tricks to learn throughout the game. But I think overall, again, thumbs up for me on terms of the gameplay. Could do with slightly less repetition, and like Graham said, a bit more oomph to the beginning section, maybe. But
I can imagine that they'll bring out loads more game modes, like actual proper PvP from them off. Yeah. It's kind of these modes straight away, rather than doing all the padding. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of months' time they'll have just that mode where you just. Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of updates and things to come, how do we feel about the live service stuff? Because I think generally none of us are really big live service type game people. I know we've played a fair few of them, and I'm a big fan of Fortnite, but I don't enjoy the live serviceness of it more than the gameplay. I mean, let's start with the menus, Sui. The menus, fucking shit. Absolute shit. They can properly get in the bin, Gray. They are awful. So,
yeah.
They need to move away from these mouse and keyboard style menu type ideas because they're fucking awful.
Yeah,
that's what they're going for, weren't they?
Skim around, and I don't think they're laid out very well. They've prioritized making it look nice with the characters in the background and all sorts of funky visuals, but excuse me, the tabs are laid out dreadfully. The way you interact with doing the modules and stuff, I was forever pressing B by mistake and coming back to the main menu when you don't need to press B. You just sort of click between them and just move on. And yeah, trying to navigate the analysis map and all that sort of the menus are fucking shit, but they're exactly what you'd expect from a live service game, like full of fucking temptation to buy things and skins and upgrades and they call war chests today you get.
Yeah. I don't think you can buy the war chest though, can you? That's quite good.
No, but underneath that is a big banner, even though we've got the special edition saying, would you like to buy the special edition? Would you like to buy the season pass? So, well, I mean, I didn't buy the game anyway, so fair enough. But if I had, like, if I bought it, it'd stop trying to get me to fucking spend more money. And yeah, I don't think there's a store in the game, like, other than obviously to buy the season pass, but I don't think
I don't even think with the skins you can buy them. Like you can use your coins and then it takes you to the Microsoft store to try and buy the rest.
Yeah. So it's not like Fortnite, for example, again, just fucking chucking loads of shit. Oh, shiny thing. But I imagine that's probably coming, especially if this does kick off, because I think it's done pretty well for itself so far. Is anybody else tempted to try and complete the battle pass, or to try and keep leveling up for it, or are you just going to keep playing and having fun, and if you level up, you level up?
Yeah, I think that would be my sort of thing. Like I'll definitely keep trying to play the storyline. If by playing the story, I mean I complete the battle pass, then fantastic. But it wouldn't be like the be all and end all if I didn't complete it, as long as I was keep playing the story.
I have no idea what the story is, but I'm the same. I just kind of want to keep playing in it and see what other
that is one good thing
to have.
That's one good thing I do like about it, and it's just to touch on like what Ian was saying. Like, he's no idea what the story is, because the way we've been playing it, we've just been sort of battering out levels left, right, and centre. That you can actually go into the analysis centre and re-click on like past events that you've completed, and if there's a cutscene attached to it, it'll replay the cutscene. So if you did want to pick up the story, even playing like in a multiplayer session like what we're playing, you can still then go back and see what you've missed by just skipping through it to get into the next game.
And the few I have watched have been all right. I mean, again, it's no Resident Evil level storytelling, but I mean, it will do. It's had a few funny moments, and the acting's not too bad. But yeah, obviously, I haven't actually gone back and Ace. Apart from Ace, as we discussed last week, who's just fucking wet blankets.
Yeah, all the visual expressions, and then he just sits on
it. Just a nod.
Come on, Ace. Mm-hmm. So Gray, any thoughts on the battle pass? I know you're definitely not a fucking battle pass guy, so
no.
Is this tempting you in any way?
No, it's just echoing the same of those. So I'm happy to play sort of multiplayer with you guys to sort of plow through the kind of the story bit and sort of find out about the story, and then whatever you unlock, you unlock. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the skins look quite funky. I mean, I quite like my playing card look on Krieger, but
that's a really cool skin.
I mean, but they're quite few and far between, sort of the decent kind of skins. Some of them look pretty cool, but like I said, I mean, it goes quite fine-tuned down to the charms. Anyone who's using charms and gets excited over charms, you know, you have issues. No one.
I clicked on the charms and I was like,
how small are they?
Sort of the gun or something? No, they sort of go on the back, didn't they? I was like, yeah. Have I got? I put one on. I didn't even notice it. I forgot all about it.
I'm going to sit silently in the corner and not indict myself here.
I mean,
come on, Ross,
even the emblems or whatever on the side, the decals, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
They kind of ruin the skins.
Nope.
So I was like, no, I don't want that there either.
And you can't see them apart from the final area, like when your team is sort of facing the camera after the match. You can't see him anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Ross, drop yourself in it.
No, I'm a big one for emblems. Like that was one of the things I really enjoyed about Borderlands 3. Is like you could put loads of emblems on your gun. You could change like the weapon skin and then put like loads of M1s at different parts of the gun and things like that. So yeah, I'm that guy.
And Ian, sorry, I'll cut you off there. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I said that I was kind of agreeing, like the influencers make them, you don't even notice them when they make your skin look a bit ugly, like a massive fucking spot on your ass. That doesn't look good.
Another wee thing that we've not touched over, just as I remember seeing it on the gameplay there, I do like for the fact that Leviathan responds back to your previous playthrough.
Oh,
so like if you get your ass handed to you, he'll dig you out, basically saying like you performed poorly in your previous game, need to get better data from you, or if your team had a particularly good healer, Ian, shout, he'll go out and say the healing in the last game was exemplary. More of that going forward, that'll give you great data. So it's quite good that it refers back to your previous game.
You helped. Yeah. It's good. It kind of keeps a bit more motivation a bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I did do that.
I do like that.
It's a nice little touch, especially because I think it even carries over in between like our last session, and if you play the next day, you'd be like, your last game, you did very well indeed. Carry on.
Yeah.
Get us more data. So,
get you G'd up for the next section.
All right, you big sexy blue bastard. All right, don't worry, I've got you covered.
You big sexy wee bastard.
Blue.
Sorry, I think you said
blue. But yeah, I mean,
bastard.
Again, back to live service stuff. I mean, it's not offensive, but it's also not exactly inspiring. I don't think. It will just work our way through it and unlock stuff as we go. I
think on the live service thing, the big, not a criticism that I've seen is if this had dropped as a pure live service Fortnite type game, free to play, but battle pass, skins, everything else you can like spend money on to earn money that way, I think it would have got a lot more love. But the fact that they expect you to pay £40 as the game and then it's still got all your live service elements, that's a bit of a sticking point for some people.
Yeah, I must admit, actually, I hadn't even really considered that because it is a paid game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it's
Game
Pass, but you have it on PC.
Yeah, so
and
we've got a Game Pass, but that's one of the things I've read about it, that had this came just as an out-and-out Fortnite type idea with they don't have to pay anything to play it, but you've got all the things you can spend money on in game, that's fine. But for to have that element and then £40 on top of it seems a bit much for where it currently sits in regards to what the game offers.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfectly valid point because I'm trying to think of the last game that tried this. There was another game a few years ago that tried to force you to buy it and then stuffed it for the microtransactions. And I think it eventually, whatever it was, I forget the name.
Was it not Avengers?
Free to play. Do you know what? It might very well have been Avengers, actually, yeah. And obviously that didn't go very well for it.
Yeah, that shot the bed.
I mean, yeah, I didn't like Avengers, but I feel like this has got a bit of a better base to build off just because it's simple fun, whereas Avengers was trying to be a bit too big for its fucking boots.
I mean, I think like I say, the best thing they could do is switch it to like quick, not right off the bat, but within 6 months, switch it to free to play, and then start building on it. And that I would think you'll see quite a bit of popularity behind it, because as a game, taking out all your cost elements and things like that, it's a great multiplayer experience. It's a good single player experience, but it's like we're saying, we'll get far more enjoyment out of playing a multiplayer than you will single. So if they expand that to more people by making it free to play, cross-platform already, so dropping it on PlayStation free to play, obviously being Xbox get the benefit of it being in Game Pass. If you give them it as a free game, then you're going to see your player count spike because it's got your cross progression and everything in it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes free to play soon.
Yeah, I suppose the only thing with it not being free to play is maybe, like we were just saying, that the live service stuff, the battle pass is there and stuff, but it's not as egregious as Fortnite, where it's not shoving full of shit that you can buy. It's just got a few things that you can buy, which again is not ideal, but it doesn't seem as predatory, I suppose. Even like Fall Guys, like some of the Fall Guys, just there's adverts everywhere. Buy this, do this, pick this up. Whereas this is got that one window down there, and like I said, you can buy some currency and stuff, but it's not overly doing it too much. But
I also think as well, Does it give you much else on, or just mainly skins? Oh, I guess you get some coins quicker as well, don't you?
Yeah, you get some coins and you get the
so you can buy modules more
skin unlocks and stuff. Yeah, but yeah. So I think we've been going for like 40 odd minutes on Exoprimal at this point. Has anybody got any final thoughts they want to wrap up, and then we'll give it a quick score and we'll move on to some other things.
Want to play more? That's all now.
Yeah, I'm kind of want to say that tomorrow night at about 8:30 we should get another group together.
I mean, I could be down for that.
And I think that's the biggest compliment we can play it before we get into like official scores and things like that, is we can all hold our hands up and say we've maybe been a bit guilty, as there's a game that's came up on Project Game Pass and we've sort of went, they don't really want to spend tons of time playing this, but we'll play it because it's Project Game Pass and we've put our time into it. Whereas this, we're all actually really wanting to jump back in and get another session set up to play it.
Yeah, I think it's the first game that we've actually managed to get 2 sessions in 1 week.
And it's not even 2 small sessions.
Yeah, 2 long.
Yeah, it's
two long
like 2.5 hours. I think Project Winter Days, wasn't it?
Yeah, Project Winter was probably the last one that we really all thought was fantastic and wanted to jump in and make sure we were playing. I'm trying to think of other ones that we had like the one night that was really good with Forza, just with like the chaos and shit like that. There was a little bit of Second Extinction. I think we all managed to get on.
Rainbow Six as well.
Siege. Yeah, Siege is always solid, but I'm trying to think of any other ones that we had.
I suppose the only other close might be Killer Queen Black, maybe.
Killer Queen Black, was probably another one that we all thought was fantastic.
But
none have really hit this level.
Yeah, like you said, it's definitely something that we're going to stick with, I think, and play more, even once Project Game Pass is done. Obviously, come September, that might change when we're playing.
September, nobody's playing anything.
Comes out September.
But I don't know, some sort of spacefaring one, I think. Something to do with
StarCraft.
Star Wars.
StarCraft, Hades edition. Gray, you got any final thoughts on Exoprimal before we wrap up here?
Just they need to keep bringing sort of different game modes out, keep it fresh, and maybe eventually give you a bit more options, because obviously at the moment you can pick between the 3 kind of different game styles, or PvP, PvE, or random. Maybe you can dive a bit into that to sort of pick the one that you're more interested in, whether it is sort of carry the cube to the end bit or that hammer one, so you can actually pick the kind of type of play you want to sort of practice it a bit more. That'd be nice. Have a bit more variety in it.
Mode kind of thing.
Yeah, just so you can do that, or just match up against other people that like the same kind of ones, because some might be better than others, and then it kind of gives them some feedback to let them know what the most popular ones are, to know which ones to develop.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We'll see. Again, obviously, I mentioned they've got many plans. The season 1, like, it goes to the end of October. I think they've already announced season 2 and 3, maybe. So yes, they're going to be supporting it for a while. So who knows? We might get some of the changes we want. Probably some of the changes we don't want. But yeah, that's that. So should we give this some scores, and then we can snap this book shut until we play some more tomorrow?
Booyah!
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go to. I'm going to work my way down the screen as I've got it. So Scott Scruff, do you want to give us a rating out of 10 for us that we do on XboxTavern.com?
So single player, I think I gave it 7.5. I can't remember. I'll get my scores up just now. Yeah, I gave it 7 for single player, and if you're playing it multiplayer, I would give it a solid 9.
Nice. Okay, and Ian, Milliman Ian.
I'm just going to go straight score, nothing special, 8.5.
Very nice. So some high love so far, Graham. I think we've ended up on roughly the same page. But do you want to go first?
Yeah, I said about a 7.5. It's not perfect, but it's still a pretty fun game to play.
And I think I'm gonna sit right along with you at a 7.5 for me as well. So we'll average that out. I don't know if one of you want to do some quick maths, because I am not a maths man. We'll average that out. That will go up on the website. There'll be a little conclusion as well as a clip to this video and the video we were talking about where we played the game for many hours and had a lot of fun with it. And then once that's
we just say it's 8-ish.
Yeah, I like that's good. That's good. I like that. quick bit of 8-ish.
Maybe
that's what we should change it.
8.125.
Sounds right.
Okay, we'll go with an 8.1. There we go. So Exoprimal get from the official Xbox Taverns X-Pod Tavern crew. Gets an 8.1. Again, that will go up on the website, and you can go read the conclusion and watch the videos and look at the pictures, and why not read some other reviews while you're there? That'd be wonderful. So this has been our review of Exoprimal. Thank you very much for watching / listening. If you're watching the podcast, stick around because we can discuss a lot more video games. And if you're not, then go and find the podcast and watch it. Goodbye. Ben, but